in particular. So we believe the sound will be better and we believe the visual will be better. And so we're quite excited by this, and soon we will also have a new computer that will facilitate what Jason is doing right now. So
We have a new computer.
okay. Oh, this is it. Sorry. Okay. So everything is new this evening. So please, if you go home and you want to watch the video, let us know. Let the Jason or CEO know. And on that note, more formally, we call our meeting to order. It is July 9th, and the summer is just flying by. So on that note, Madam Clerk, let's proceed with the adoption of the agenda.
We have a mover and a seconder. The draft agenda presented to council and dated the 9th day of July 2024 be adopted as prepared.
All in favor? Yvonne carried. Thank you. Accepting the minutes of the previous meetings.
Mover and a seconder, please. Sir Japan.
Lauren.
The minutes of the regular council meeting of June 25th, 2024 be adopted as circulated.
All in favor? Yvonne carried. Any business arising from the minutes?
I would like,
Deputy Mayor?
okay. So last meeting, there was a discussion with the Bell representative. And there was a comment made that the areas that were de-scoped from the Bell project have 50/10 capacity and internet. And when people test, they're not finding that they're getting 50/10 consistently. So I was wondering if council would approve of having, working with Blue Sky and Susan Church to have a test of the area that is de-scoped, or everyone. I'm not sure how we would do this, but to really get some information about internet in East Ferris, especially in those areas around Lake Nosbonsing that aren't going to get fiber internet. So is that, or can we discuss that, or put it forward to another meeting? I'm not sure how we want to handle that.
Any comments from council on that in terms of how we might move forward?
I suggest we ask Susan Church to either come in by video or attend a special meeting, or have staff at least interact with her and see what the score is. Because the way it was presented, it was pretty factual, but when we know there are holes in the system, so I think that'd be the best way to go.
Okay.
That was Bell's comment. It wasn't Jason's comment. We spoke to Bell. Bell gave us that comment.
Well, both. So basically, you'll recall the last time we had made a resolution that we had said that we were objecting, and we had the press release that went out. That was like our last attempt at trying to say to the government that we weren't in agreement with the fact that they had de-scoped that part of. They hadn't de-scoped it. They provided it. Another carrier came about, and they provided that carrier with the funding to put up a tower, and basically that tower now covers that area. And they were saying that that technology covers the Lake Nosbonsing area, and so basically then Bell, that component of fiber was being excluded from their project. And because originally when Bell had submitted their proposal to the government and never to us, but we had seen it, that particular proposal informally. It included Lake Nosbonsing. So that's why it's such a disappointment to us when we learned, and Susan Church has been involved in some of these negotiations with the government, both provincial and federal, to say that that's not fair because we won't be getting the fiber that we were expecting. But they've said that in turn, you will have the same service, but in a different fashion. But to the point that's being made by some of us here, certainly our concern is that that is not the case. And so we had agreed, basically, or informally had some discussions that once, last time it's the government that came forward and said that City Affairs, our MP has advocated, our MPs advocated, they've sent letters, they've had discussions, they said that's it, that's all, this is what it is. So that's the comment that we received from the government. And we also got basically Bell it's the government's call that the funding was provided to a tower in Chisholm that services our area. So it's not necessarily a Bell call. So basically, we have the opportunity though to make tests and to go back. And maybe the timing is right now because it's not yet, I mean, the government has said that by 2025. So there is an opportunity to go back and advocate and say, you said this, but this is currently what it is. So I don't disagree that testing would be, and that's what we had agreed we would do. We had just thought we would wait. But if we wanted to do it now, I would say let's go for it personally. I saw Councillor Trahan and Councillor Champagne.
So just to kind of go over what you just said, just a moment there. Bell said that they weren't going to overlap what already is existing.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're gonna be covering the other
Yeah.
parts, and that's why they showed that map.
Correct.
So just to make that clear. So they weren't de-scoping anything, they just weren't gonna overlap what's already.
laid down for fiber. Now, my understanding of the fiber, I know that we have
Some issues over in the Centennial McPherson area.
I think that I would let Bell do the work first before we start pushing. Let them do their work and let's see what they actually come up with and let them. We don't know if there's gonna be an issue or not, right? We're just subjecting, well, if there's gonna be a problem with the fiber or not, so.
So the concern is not so much with the fiber right now, it's with the other areas that they have said that the tower that they've now installed that's providing Wi-Fi, that is complete. So basically, the level of service that these residents around Lignos Bonsing that were now excluded from the Bell contract, that is the level of service that they will be receiving. It won't change necessarily next year or the year after. It is exists.
Yes, and that's why I asked the questions with regards of some of the infrastructure we have as well as the schools.
Yes.
So that totality of scope of fiber is gonna be covered.
Yeah, so the school is
So-
already covered by Bell. They committed, they've already, when they built the school, they brought in themselves at their own expense, fiber into the school. But it will benefit here, Ferris Glen, to your point, exactly. So it was a good comment. So with Councillor Champagne?
Yeah, and again, I agree with, 4 acres and Terry. That's the question I asked, that's fine area, but the other area, you're saying it's gonna be good by 2025. He couldn't tell us yes or no, and at that time we said, she had Jason or something, explain it to us. From.
Net Spectrum.
How come residents of the port at the south end aren't getting the same product we're supposed to get by
Right.
2025?
You're absolutely correct, Councillor Champagne. Our discussion now is with Net Spectrum and with Blue Sky. And so I would suggest, maybe that is the way to go. Maybe our next step is to engage Net Spectrum on our journey with us and say, listen, the work is done. This is currently the concerns. And maybe we do that as a first step. And then from there, we engage in testing. Because we would want a high level of participation for the testing. And how would that, Deputy Mayor react if you brought it forward? What if we had for our August meeting, Net Spectrum come forward?
If I may, Mayor Rochford, Antoine and I, our engineer, met with Net Spectrum today. We do know that there's plans for this summer. We can't divulge any of the information. They will be coming out and providing us with information that we can then circulate, share on social media. So they are planning infrastructure developments this summer, branching out from what they've already done in the Quakeway living area. But I'll leave it at that for now.
Okay.
What we did discuss, and it's more from an operations standpoint, is about getting their infrastructure as a layer on our CGIS system so that we're aware of where they are in the community from a mapping perspective. But from that, there was discussion on how we can determine who's being left out of the 50-10
Okay,
piece. And I think that is going to involve work with Susan Church.
okay.
So we are working on it. It was more
Yeah.
this afternoon, kind of an impromptu meeting where they requested that we meet with them, so.
But I think that's good work.
That's
good.
Excellent. And would we be comfortable then with leaving it with our CEO to?
I didn't realize the amendment.
No, exactly. So when.
So
when we-
Councilor Champagne, when you're in this afternoon, that's what the meeting was, and it was fairly a last minute meeting. What they said to me was we would like to fill in those holes that Bell is not going to be doing. So we'll leave it at that. What that means, I mean, they've got work on their end to do as well. They're pretty aggressive. They want to get going on things. So,
They're
yeah,
a great provider. They have been the municipality's best friend and outstanding partner in so many ways. And so I think to do it, well, that's.
They came when we needed them.
yeah.
It's still gonna be in place by 2025.
Precisely, well said.
Yeah, as well, within the last couple of weeks, Susan Church did ask for a letter of support from our municipality because she's got something in the works. I don't know the details. But she is aware of what what was de-scoped from our area, and she still has concerns that not everybody's gonna have access to 5010. So I know she's working on something and has put an application forward. So, whether that comes to fruition this year, we know how it works with applications. They tend to get approved 6 months later, 8 months, 9 months. So it could be something this year or next year, but there's things in the works.
2025, everybody would have it. So that's all we can go by. So let's wait and you guys give us a report for the next meeting.
Okay. Is that the Deputy Mayor, since you brought it up, is that satisfactory? Yes? Council too, all right.
Just if I may, Mayor Rochford, for your information, Deputy Mayor, that meeting happened after our conversation today. So that's why I didn't share the information.
Any other business arising from the minutes? There being none, declarations of conflict of interest or pecuniary interest thereof. Oh, wait, sorry, I went too fast. I apologize. Yep.
No, that's okay. The other one was, there was a discussion about the letter of support for the Chamber of Commerce for the RNEP program. And there was questions about it. And I know I've talked to the Chamber of Commerce, Donna Baker, I think is her last name. And I wonder about inviting her to, because I know they have other programs that they're interested in implementing in East Ferris, but she may also come and talk about that RNEP program if there was questions about it. So that was another piece of information I just wanted to bring forward.
Well, that's very good. We did agree that we would be inviting her to come forward. And let's go ahead.
I did reach out after the last meeting when we sent the correspondence, and she's gonna keep in touch with me and let me know when, once the application goes through, if they're approved, she'll come to council and present.
Okay.
Okay, good. Well, great minds think alike, c'est bon. Well done. C'est bon. Okay, no declarations of conflict of interest, announcement and updates from council members. Oui, Councillor Champagne.
Yeah, just last Friday, we had the RMPP, Vic Fidel came in and did the presentation for the grant application that we got. All the work has been done at the library and the $150,000 towards the Person Drive walking trail extended asphalt. And it's funny because we're sitting there looking, not really funny, but you're sitting at the library, how this all came to fruition 25 years ago, and you're part of that how we've come so far. And the library is such an asset to our municipality, and it was glad, I was able to speak, but I mean, the staff behind our CEO, they're Jennifer Report, and they've done a great job, plus the board members that they were all on. They were there also for the presentation, and it's nice to see that you get new blood. It changes so often. It all starts with our volunteers. Without the volunteers, we're not. It's nice to sit up here and say, we've done this and done that. Without the volunteers, there's nothing more exciting than watching something come together with our municipality. But anyway, I was there. I know some people couldn't make it, so I made myself available to see the presentation and the certificate from Vic Fidel. Good. So, thank you for that. Thank you for all the volunteers.
Well, I thank you, Councillor Champagne, on behalf of council for, it was a Friday afternoon. And so in the summer, so that was, wonderful that you were able to represent us and the municipality and the community. And I understand you spoke well. So someone said to me, he speaks well. So thank you very much. And also, Mr. Trottier as well for organizing the event. And,
thank you.
Yes, so our library is an incredible story in our community. Well said. But on that note, it brings us to delegations of the council. We have the first delegation, which is a representative from the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation. And I was very pleased when Allegra joined, and we'll make a few comments. So can you see Deputy Mayor? Is that why did you have, no, she didn't have it.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm just getting the presentation up.
And so I think, you're there, Madame Amy Van Garden? Can you hear us?
You're on mute, Amy.
There we go. I can hear you.
I did want to say how we are delighted that you could be with us. There has been discussions at our council table about impact concurrency and the directions. And as well within some of our social media in our community, there have been comments and questions as we put out our own tax bills. And so we welcome your presence tonight and we turn it over to you to comment as you see fit.
Okay, great. So I do have a presentation to show.
I just made you host, Amy,
Okay. Thank you.
and then you can make me the host when you're done.
All right, perfect. So I will share my screen. And just let me know when you can see it.
You're up.
All right. So thanks for having me. As you'd mentioned, my name is Amy Van Weingarten. I'm the account manager with the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation. And I'm glad to join you today to talk a little bit about our property assessment and taxation system. So there's 4 key players in Ontario's property assessment and taxation system, and all have a different role and interest in this process. So the Ontario provincial government, specifically the Ministry of Finance, is responsible for setting assessment and taxation legislation, policies, and the education property tax rate. There's also an independent body that adjudicates appeals of MPAC's assessed values that falls under the jurisdiction of the province, called the Assessment Review Board. Then we have MPAC, which is an independent not-for-profit corporation funded by all Ontario municipalities. Our role is to accurately assess and classify all properties in Ontario in compliance with the Assessment Act and regulations set by the Government of Ontario. So at MPAC, we are accountable to the province, municipalities, and property taxpayers through a board of directors that is comprised of provincial, municipal, and taxpayer representatives appointed by the Minister of Finance. So Wendy Landry, your NOMA president, is actually one of our current appointees on the MPAC board. Municipalities then determine their budget requirements, set tax rates, and collect property taxes to pay for municipal services. You use our assessments and the established tax rates to distribute your tax requirement to the ratepayers. And then finally, we have the property owners who pay the property tax bill and help set market values through ongoing property purchases and sales. Now, maintaining Ontario's property database is an important part in ensuring municipal records are accurate. So this includes inspecting and assessing new construction, additions, and renovations promptly. We support your municipality by working and engaging with your planning and finance departments on a regular basis. We offer Municipal Connect, which is an online platform where your municipal administration obtains the primary source of assessment-related information, products, and reports throughout the year. We also have important statutory duties such as handling requests for reconsiderations, processing tax applications, severances, and consolidations. We also update addresses and ownership, school support, and property classification changes. So we do have service level agreements with municipalities to hold us accountable and to make sure that we process all of these duties in a timely manner. Now, monitoring the market and assessing newly built and renovated properties are things we do every day to keep our property data current. We also periodically update every single property assessment in Ontario based on the same provincially legislated valuation date, which we call an assessment update or reassessment. This valuation date is when we determined that what every single property in Ontario could have reasonably sold for at that particular point in time. As we know, the most recent assessment update, which took effect in 2017, is January 1st, 2016. Prior to the AMO conference this year, the Ontario government filed a regulation to amend the Assessment Act to extend the postponement of the province-wide reassessment. Therefore, for 2024 tax year, we will continue to be based on fully phased in January 1st, 2016 values. The provincial government also announced a review of Ontario's property taxation and assessment systems and committed to deferring the reassessment until this review is complete. So while MPAC is not responsible for setting tax rates or collecting the property taxes, we welcome the opportunity to work with the province to ensure the property assessment process is optimal for both property owners and the municipalities. Although a reassessment date has not yet been announced, MPAC continues to maintain and update the assessment roll to reflect changes such as new construction and improvements to properties. So Ontario's property tax system is based on everyone paying their portion of what it costs to deliver community services. To do this, all properties are assigned a value at a common valuation date, which is a principle called current value assessment. So current value assessment, or CVA, is the market value at a certain point in time, which in this case is known as the legislated valuation date. It's the price a property might reasonably be expected to sell for if sold by a willing seller to a willing buyer after appropriate time and exposure on an open market. So now let's talk briefly about valuation. So here in Ontario, there's 3 industry-wide standardized approaches to valuing properties. The first of these is called the direct comparison approach, which is used primarily for residential properties, condos, and vacant land. With this approach, we analyze valid open market sales of comparable properties that were sold for a similar or identical use as the property to be valued. Now, condos with services that are paid by the resident would be reflected in the sale price as well, because we value condos based on what a willing buyer will pay a willing seller. Secondly, we've got the income approach to value, which is used for industrial malls, office buildings, shopping centers, and a variety of other property types. With income producing properties, the ability to earn revenue is directly tied to its current value. So to value these properties, we need to determine how much revenue it could generate as well as the sale price. Just to clarify, it's not the revenue being generated by the occupant, but rather the rent that the occupant is paying to the landlord that we use to value properties using the income approach. This method requires a detailed analysis of the income and expenses for the property being valued and other comparable properties. Those 2 factors create what is called a capitalization rate, which helps us determine the property's assessed value. Lastly, we have the cost approach, which is typically used for properties such as general purpose industrial, small retail, gravel pits, warehousing, that type of thing. This approach is used when a property type is unique and rarely sold on the open market, and we can't really rely on either the direct comparison or the income approaches due to the lack of data that is available. So the cost approach is a 3-step process. First, we will calculate the cost of replacing all accessible fixtures on the land. Then we will apply a deduction for what we call depreciation, which could be due to age, due to its functionality, or due to economic conditions that might impact the value of the property. And then finally, we'll determine the value of the land using the direct comparison approach. And we'll add it to the building calculations, and this produces an overall valuation with the cost approach. So although there are over 200 factors that play into assessing residential properties, there are 5 main ones. So the first one would be the age of the building or buildings on site, the location of the property, the quality of construction for the structures on site, the exterior square footage, and lot dimensions. So these 5 factors account for approximately 85% of a property's assessed value. Now, sometimes property owners do not agree with our assessed value, and that's more than okay. They have some options in order to resolve these assessment concerns. So property owner might connect with you to let you know that they disagree with our assessment, but it's important to remember that property assessments are not taxation. So if you get an inquiry, you can help us by asking the property owner a few questions. So first, could they have sold their property on January 1st, 2016 for the assessed value? Then, have they visited aboutmyproperty.ca to review the information MPAC has on file regarding their property is correct? Third, did they use About My Property to conduct comparable research on assessment values in their area? If a property owner still disagrees with their assessment after these steps, they have the option to file a request for reconsideration on either aboutmyproperty.ca or mpact.ca, and we will review their assessment free of charge. Now, they also have the ability to file an appeal with the Assessment Review Board. However, there are fees involved, so we do encourage them to use the request for reconsideration avenue first. Now, the deadline to file a request for reconsideration is printed on a property assessment notice that they would receive in the fall if they have made changes to their property. So for properties where changes haven't been done and they haven't received a notice, then the deadline for filing the request for reconsideration for this year at least was April 2nd. Now, our municipal stakeholders rely on us here at MPAC and our assessments to levy property taxes. So the sooner MPAC can deliver new assessment, the sooner our municipal stakeholders can realize new revenue. Every year, MPAC processes on average about 300,000 building permits for new development or renovations. Aside from building permits, there are 3 other things which may flag a property for inspection. So one being a market sale, so if the property is sold. The second being a request from either a municipality or a property owner, or if we need to review the property due to a request for reconsideration or an appeal that has been filed. In order to calculate property taxes, we at MPAC provide the current value assessment of a property to the municipality, and then the municipality will then apply that property specific tax rate to find out how much property taxes need to be paid by the owner. So next, I just have a quick 3-minute video, which can be found on YouTube, which explains the process a little bit more in detail. So hopefully you're able to see and hear this. All right, are you able to see my screen?
Yep, yes.
Okay, so let me just play this. I'll go ahead and
Oh, volume. No volume. Amy, all we can see is numbers, no volume.
Can't hear you.
Might not be what?
Oh, well, we're almost done.
Mhm.
All right, so I just have a few more slides.
Didn't hear anything there, by the way.
You didn't hear anything?
No, there was no volume.
But it's okay, keep going.
Okay, I can, I don't know if I can share it in the chat, but I'll share the link in the chat.
I can forward it to council as well after.
It's on our.
Right here.
Okay. So I'll now touch on a new insights campaign that we launched at the end of February, which focuses on how the residential property landscape has evolved in the last decade. What we've learned is that year-over-year price increases are driving buyers to look at communities farther outside of the Greater Toronto and Golden Horseshoe areas. Communities with homes under 500,000 are becoming increasingly scarce, and the type and location of homes with a value of less than 750,000 has also shifted. So what does this mean? Well, there are limited options for first-time buyers. In 2013, 74% of residential properties in Ontario had a home value estimate of less than 500,000, while 91% of homes had a value of less than 750,000. Today, that number has dropped to just 19% and 48% respectively. So reasons for this drop in available homes under 500,000, well, current home prices are a reflection of various economic forces at play. Factors like supply and demand, increased construction and labor costs, plus inflation are all part of what's driving today's house prices. To find properties for less than 500,000, potential buyers can look to cities such as Sudbury, the Soo, North Bay, Thunder Bay, and Windsor. We hope that data like this will help property owners understand the changing real estate landscape and where they can look to find housing opportunities throughout Ontario that may better suit their future needs. So you can learn more about this initiative by visiting impact.ca, where you'll also find a link to the interactive housing inventory map, where you can learn more about your respective areas. Our focus is always on building awareness about property assessment and taxation and MPAC's role. We understand that the property assessment system can be quite complex, which is why we continue to focus our efforts on providing helpful and easy to understand resources directly to property owners and to municipalities to help you answer property owner questions as well. Our resources vary from social media campaigns and educational videos to our new first-time homeowners hub, where new property owners can access information to help them navigate the property assessment and taxation system. We liaise with municipalities on a regular basis, and in 2023, we had webinars and training videos with nearly 2,000 attendees. We had multiple municipal conferences. We had over 1,800 municipal engagements and over 18,000 municipal inquiries for day-to-day business requests, which we monitor as part of our municipal service level agreements. Our digital toolkit, available on impact.ca, can also help municipalities, including elected officials, mitigate misinformation and provide support and resources to educate and inform property owners. With over 3,400 page views, we are planning more toolkits this year to further support your work. So there'll be more on this soon. So that's pretty much it on my end. My contact information is here, and feel free to reach out at any time if you have any questions or if you want more information on anything that was shared today. And I'll take any questions if there's some.
So thank you very much, Madame Van Garden. We do have a question from Councillor Champagne.
Okay.
Thank you for coming and for your, it's gonna be one loaded question with maybe 3 answers you have to give me depending on what the first one is.
Okay.
2016 is the last time the assessment were done. So the assessment value, which should probably be in 2026 when the next one will come due because it's an election year, because this is provincially driven, correct?
We actually don't know. We have no idea when the next one's going to come. There has been speculation that it likely will be after the next election. But so far we haven't heard anything, unfortunately. So we are still working on market values from 2016.
Well, part 2 is that some of the ratepayers that were concerned that in 2026, when their assessment gets reassessed, how is that going to work out? Because it'll be 10 years before the last assessment.
Mm-hmm.
So they're worried that their assessment's going to go way up. I know we can gauge that through our mill rate for our municipality. But how do we get out there to the public and let them know this won't be an issue?
So you're exactly right. The assessment values will be increasing because if you see the market today, they've doubled, if not tripled in certain areas, the market value. So for us to accurately reflect that, our assessed values will be going up, and typically the municipalities will adjust their tax rate downwards to account for that, because even though the assessments are going up, it doesn't necessarily mean their service levels are going up, or what they need to provide services to the community are going up. So then they'll be able to decrease their tax rates if they're, let's say, only requesting a certain amount from each household, then that should level itself out. Now once a reassessment is announced, what we do is that we then go out into the community and we're available to community members. We'll do showcases, we'll do conferences, we do meetings, so that we're available for any of the questions, and to let the public know that just because the assessments are increasing doesn't mean their taxes will be.
So the third part of the question now, where we are now, we've got some of our ratepayers that built a new house last year, okay? They got assessed on this year what the current value is of houses next door. But they're saying they shouldn't be assessed at last year's price, they should be assessed at 2016. Are they correct?
Yeah, the market rates of 2016. So they won't be assessed at the market rates, I guess you could say, for 2023. It would be what that house would have sold for in 2016.
Okay, so there's a challenge going on right now. I kind of argued if I said, would you sell your house today for that price? Absolutely not, because in 2016, but it may be right. It shouldn't be taxed, or it shouldn't be assessed on 2023 prices, it should be assessed on 2016 prices, correct?
Correct, yes. Market values, yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Kelly.
Thank you. I have one question. So say your house in 2016 is assessed at 300,000, and the reality is nowadays you sell for between 600,000 and 700,000. Does the new buyer then pay on the basis of a value of the house of 600,000 or 700,000, or is it back to 300,000 that it was assessed at in 2016?
Their taxes, so if they were to sell today, their taxes would be based still on the January 1st, 2016, what MPAC has assessed it at.
And that's for the new buyers as well? The new buyers that just paid 600,000, would they be then paying taxes on 600,000 or 300,000?
Whatever we have the property assessed at.
So the property value does not change with the new sale?
No, we use that sale information for our next reassessment. Which is why the next reassessment likely will see property values increase quite substantially.
Thank you. Very good.
You better say something.
I see Councillor Trahan and Deputy Mayor Diakos.
So Amy, just to kind of take out some of the
Water cooler information. Is the service level, is that gonna be capped?
because you can't just go from 2016 to 2026 increases, because people are going to be leaving their homes. So the water cooler information is that the government is going to cap it by the assessment, I guess. Is that true, or is that kind of false, or is there, you haven't heard anything about that?
Unfortunately, I haven't heard anything about that. I think that's because they're reviewing the whole system. So the whole assessment, the whole taxation system means there could be many changes coming out of this. So at this point in time, we're not sure what it's going to look like. But if we continue on the way we've done previous reassessments, then it'll be every 4 years. But who knows, if once they do the review, they might want reassessments done on a annual or biannual basis. Who knows? It's all up in the air right now until they finish the review.
Because what I'm saying is somebody's house is worth 300, now it's worth 600, so you just double them. So there's gotta be some sort of a cap there, you know what I mean? Like, there's gonna be people walking away here.
That's what I'm assuming is gonna be 2026.
Yeah.
For the provincial.
That's why the tax
You're probably
rates
right.
yeah, that's why the tax rates get adjusted down.
Now, my other question is, to go back to your slide to the 5 factors, how is that determined? Is that determined on points? Or how is Unpacked looking at that? So say if somebody has a house that's built in 1980, compared to say somebody's have a house built in 1995. So how are you guys looking at that?
So we're based on what we call is mass appraisal. So we have models that kind of drive the value depending on what is on that property. So some models might value the age of the building higher than, like in some market areas. So let's say in your area, the age of the building might be worth 50% of the assessed value. I'm just throwing numbers out there. Whereas maybe for North Bay, it's worth 60%, right? So those 5 factors, depending on how they affect the market in that area, will differ. So from market to market, they'll be different, but ultimately those 5 main factors are driving that value. And it's not so much on a point system. It has to do with it has all of those 5 factors combined together in the model is what drives that value.
Okay. I just think comparing us to North Bay is not correct, but.
No, it was just for
Yeah.
it was just for demonstration purposes. Yeah.
Any further questions, Councilor Tam?
Good, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor Reactors?
So 2 things. So further to Councillor Kelly and Councillor Champagne's questions, about the 2016. So if we direct property owners to aboutmyproperty.ca, that will give them that comparison at January 1st, 2016. So
Yes.
that gives them that comparison. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And then the other thing, I've gone to multiple impact presentations at different conferences, and one thing that came up over and over again, and so I just want to make it known, is that ask about this, is that it was asked that the municipalities get warning and before the assessment comes out, just to make sure it's appropriate timing for budgets and things like that. Does that make sense, what I'm asking?
Yeah. So
Okay.
as soon as the province announces a reassessment date, if there's certain times if they were to announce it now, that would be impossible. There's no way not only MPAC, but the municipalities would be prepared for January 1st of 2025, let's say. So what we're hoping is they're going to have it announced hopefully by the spring of when the actual date will be. And that should give us, fingers crossed, 2 or 3 years to prepare for it.
2 or 3 years from
to prepare for a new reassessment, because I highly doubt, and this is all speculation, but I don't think that they'll be announcing a reassessment date prior to the next election. There's just too much going on right now. But if they do decide, hey, listen, we're going to change to annual reassessments, and they say January 1st, 2016 is the new reassessment date, then at least we still have a year to prepare for it. But like I said, I highly doubt that will be the case.
All right, thank you. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you, Council, for your questions. And thank you very much, Madame Van Wingarden. I should mention to Council that we do have the presentation in our documents, as you know, and the video is in there, so we can go back and watch it. And it is available to citizens. They can go online and download this presentation. It is there. And so it's well done. Thank you very much. Very complete and good information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time that you've given me today. And like I said, I've got my contact information in that presentation, so feel free to reach out with any additional questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Councilor Champagne.
Just make a comment. I know she's gone, but for ourselves, it's nice to we're not taking the brunt of it. It's impact is making the decision through the problems, okay? We're not the ones that's raising our taxes, we're not, so we have to work with the mill rate to keep it even. Even though your taxes, your assessment was way up, we have to work with your mill rate to make it work.
Yes, well said. And so well said. And on that note, we have another delegation and they've been very patient and waiting for us to complete this presentation. And so officially, we'd like to welcome Club Action 50 Plus this evening. There's a really great representation of members that are with us this evening. And so in particular, we welcome to the table, Madame Lori Bedick and Madame Lynn Waywhite. So please join us. Yes, right there, yes.
Front and center.
Lynn is, as we know, Madame Waywhite is the president of Club Action 50 Plus. And
Amy, are you able to make me the host?
I'm just trying to figure out how to do that.
Actually, Amy, I think if you leave the meeting, it automatically reverts back to myself.
Perfect. Okay, thanks again, everyone.
Thank you.
be a better picture to introduce Madame Waywhite and Madame Bedick.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Do is hit the stop